It was just after midnight Eastern when Barack Obama signed the bill to extend the United States debt ceiling. That avoided a potential default and let furloughed federal employees get back to work. Megan Fitzpatrick was following those developments late into the night. There she is, up early with us this morning in Washington. Down to the wire for sure, Megan, but let's go through for anybody who went to sleep before this was all signed off on. Take us through the late night events.
Okay, well, the bipartisan bill that was brokered earlier in the day in the Senate passed a vote there about mid-evening. Then it went to the House of Representatives. By about 10 o'clock last night, they were voting on it. And with 100% Democrat support and 87 Republicans voting for it, the bill was passed through. It then made its way from Capitol Hill down the street to the White House, where, as you mentioned, Barack Obama signed it into law shortly after midnight. And then just a few minutes after that, a note went out from the government's budget office officially declaring the partial government shutdown over and advising government departments and agencies that they should resume operations as of today. Now, the deal that was reached funds the government through mid-January, and it lifts the debt ceiling until February 7th. So a lot of people are saying this really just kicks the can down the road. It does very little to actually solve the debt problems and the budget problems. Now, Barack Obama, he did speak to reporters last night in between the two votes, which was raising some eyebrows about the strategy there. But he was asked whether Congress is going to be fighting this exact same fight just a few months from now. He gave a very firm no as his answer as he left the room. But listen to what he said during his statement to reporters.
We've got to get out of the habit of governing by crisis. And my hope and expectation is everybody has learned that there's no reason why we can't work on the issues at hand, why we can't disagree between the parties while still being agreeable, and make sure that we're not inflicting harm on the American people when we do have.
So Obama there saying he wants to work with the other side of the aisle, but people like Ted Cruz, the Republican senator who was leading the fight against Obamacare to include defunding it in any budget negotiation, he's vowing to keep fighting. He's not giving up, Heather.
So more of this to come, and Congress at loggerheads again, it looks like, in the near future. But what are the next steps on this, Megan?
Well, for starters, we'll see thousands of federal civil servants going back to work today. There will also be a lot of happy tourists, I suspect, here in Washington and across the country, because museums will be back open, monuments like the Statue of Liberty and the Lincoln Memorial here. But beyond that, work is going to get started this morning on finding a long-term budget plan. That was one of the conditions of this deal that was reached. So members of the House and the Senate budget committees have scheduled a breakfast meeting for this morning to get those talks going. But also, we'll be watching for the markets. They should react well to this since the debt default was avoided. But a lot of damage has been done already to the American economy. There's one estimate that this shutdown cost as much as $24 billion over the course of the 16 days that it lasted. GDP also took a hit, and consumer confidence was also shaken by this. So people will be keeping their eye on the markets. Another thing to watch for this morning, Heather, another statement from the president. He said last night that he would have more to say about this today.